What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 66 of Thinktwice, the magic and pop culture show hosted by me, Justin Parnell, and my co-host, Ali Aintrazi.
Soon to be Ali Aintrazi.
Oh, sorry, the formerly known Ali Aintrazi, soon to be known Ali Aintrazi. Is that right?
So, if I go away, does Maggie take my place?
As
co-host?
No, I'll take Maggie, and I will be content with that. I won't do the show anymore. I'll just take Maggie.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the most important thing here. She has to be safe. We have to protect the Maggie at all costs. I've said that multiple times.
She does have to be safe.
Yeah.
So, speaking of safe and Maggie,
yeah,
how was your weekend?
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
What happened?
Well, my house flooded last week.
Mm-hmm.
When, we were joking about the hurricane last week, and Roanoke got an outrageous amount of rainfall. And just like in June, my house flooded yet again. So I have had to completely displace all of my stuff again. All of the carpet had to get pulled out.
Again? Brand new carpet?
Yep. Of the lower level. And I've been really tired. It's been a really long week. I'm trying to get out of the lease of the house that I'm living in, so I'm probably going to be moving, like, within the next 2 weeks. So,
dang. Okay.
Yeah,
that sounds rough.
It's been pretty awful. It's not been a good week.
Sorry, buddy. Luckily, you'll hear Maggie bark at least one time during this podcast.
Oh, thank goodness.
And that might cheer you up. At least I don't hear a huge bull.
Well, that's because I've turned everything off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's miserable.
Yep.
God dang. Well, at least when you move, that's it. You can wipe your hands clean. Turn a new leaf. Turn a new page. Start over.
I guess I have to turn a new page because the other one I had was water damage. So
hashtag new start. Hashtag fresh start.
I guess it's not like I'm taking a fresh. It's not like something I'm like choosing. I just can't live in a home that has flooded. And it's not like there's like water getting in. It's like flooding comes up from water comes up from the foundation of the house, like into the bottom of the house. So,
well, I know what I'm gonna do next time I see you. I'm gonna give you a Mentos for that fresh break.
Okay, I don't get it.
Well, do you remember the old commercials?
Yeah, Mentos, the fresh maker.
Right, they're all smiling. So maybe I'll give it to you. You'll smile and be happy.
No, I really just want water to stop messing with my life, and the people that I rent this house from to be honest with me, and for all of my belongings to be safe. So if you feel like a Mentos can do that, then I will gladly take you up on the offer. In fact, I'll eat as many Mentos as you need me to.
Well, you know what?
We can start with one, I guess.
Yeah, I'll get you a Mentos fresh maker, and we'll start with one and see what happens. But in all seriousness, I am sorry. And if you need anything, one phone call away.
Well, unfortunately, there's not anything anyone can do to help, which is the worst part. The only people that can do something to help are the people that I rent the home from. So if they can hurry up and tell me whether the lease is going to be broken, then that will help. That will help.
Okay.
That way I can pack all of my stuff up and be prepared to move on and live somewhere else where this does not happen.
Yeah.
So how about you?
That
how about
seems
you,
like the
Ollie?
safest play. Well, I played in a PPTQ. It was standard. I played the 5-color Lich deck and went undefeated in the Swiss rounds, meaning
Awesome.
I got to double draw into top 8. Got top 4, lost in top 4, and that's because like I just ran out of energy, man. I should have got a coffee or some kind of energy to keep going. But the deck is like, it's very rewarding for, if okay, it requires a lot of like brain power, but it's very rewarding when played correctly.
Yeah.
Basically what happened was I masterminded, copied it like, multiple times, and I still lost. And then I also missed a Nezahal trigger, and that trigger, if it had resolved, the top card of my deck was a Banefire, and that was lethal.
Oh God.
So yeah, it was just like all sorts of like I'm just like fried.
It's really tough. That's one of the things that most people don't talk about is the difficulty of playing high level Magic for like 8, 9, 10 hours in a row.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it frequently, or you're out of practice, or you're just, I don't want to say old. I don't think I'm old. I don't think you're old.
I'm definitely old. I'm definitely old.
But compared to probably, I bet you were one of the oldest people in that event.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I feel like, man. It's like when can I go and play these events? I was like, man, 5 years ago, even 5 years ago, I was like, I could just do this and be totally fine. And now when I get to like round 8, round 9, I'm like, man, I'm concerned about my ability to like mentally hold up. Not even like my play skill.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, and also this may sound weird, but having those two not buys, the 2 draws.
I think it hurt you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I think it just like, like I was in the. It was like a train. Like I was in the drive, in the driver's seat.
Had momentum going.
Yeah, exactly. And then like just 2 buys in a row, got like a snack, and then started top 8, and it was just like had to regrind. And I literally in the top 4 match, I literally felt myself like, I was like, man, I should have gotten like some sort of something like waking me up. And the problem was
it's the worst. It's the worst feeling when you realize it and you can't do anything about it. Like when when you start playing the game, you're like, I'm like, you know that it's going to be a struggle mentally.
I think part of the problem too was it started at 1 p.m.
That's unreasonable. That is so unreasonable for any tournament to start.
Yeah, so it was like
even at noon.
So I think it was like around like 8 or 9 o'clock when I was in top 8 and top 4, and I was just like, man, I sleep at like 11, so I'm unwinding at that time usually, like either reading or watching some anime or whatever. Just that's usually my time to like unwind for an hour and then go to sleep, right? So my brain is just not used to it.
Yeah, that's so brutal.
That's okay though. I'll get next time.
Yeah. All right. Well, last week we had a question of the week, and I'm gonna concede this one to you because I changed my answer after thinking about it more, which is not fair because you didn't get to make your argument appropriately based on my answer. The question of the week was, which card will break out the fastest from our 5 choices of our 5 list of 5 most underrated card in Guilds of Ravnica. You said Crackling Drake, which took 41% of the vote. I said Connive and Concoct, and then changed it because I made the poll to Expansion and Explosion, which got 59% of the vote. But I changed my answer, and I think that if I'd put Connive Concoct, Crackling Drake would have won.
I think Crackling Drake would have won for the current metagame, but I think Connive Concoct is going to be better than Crackling Drake once we get like 2 more sets.
Probably overall.
Yeah. That's what I think.
The ceiling is higher on that card for sure.
Yeah, and Expansion Explosion is, I think, should win this poll. It's the card is pretty absurd. I think it's the best split card.
I think it's the second best one, but I think the top 2 are both really good. I think Find and Finality is better, but
really, I don't think so. Go ahead. Why do you think so?
I think because it's better more often than Expansion Explosion.
Okay.
I feel like there's some games where Expansion Explosion is not as good. Like actually, specifically, like in the black and green matchup,
Yeah,
I think
it's almost like dead there. Not dead, but it's
yeah,
close.
like you have to get to Explosion because
Yeah.
you need to get all those cards, but oftentimes it's just too much mana and you can't get there. And Find Finality in grindy matchups, it's insane, and in aggressive matchups, if you can just live, it's just a wrath.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the ceiling on Expansion Explosion is higher, but I think the average, like when it's cast on average, I think Find and Finality is better. But they're both very good. Like I'm saying, very narrow edges here.
Okay. I mean, I think Expansion Explosion is better. Like even in the Golgari matchup where it's probably the worst,
Yeah,
you can still copy like like your own Lightning Strike or a late game Chemistry's Insight or a Justice Strike. I don't think it's like it's pretty like even when it's like bad, quote unquote bad, which is in that matchup, it's not like completely dead.
no, I see what you're saying. And I think they're both very good. I think those are the two best ones in my opinion.
I am super high on Discovery Dispersal, but that's
that's probably the best one just because it has the best single mode.
It's like
I guess the rare ones, but they're all kind of the same thing.
Yeah. But it's not even played really. Discovery Dispersal is like not played as much as Find Finality or Expansion Explosion, but
yeah,
the preordained side is pretty good.
It is, and like we were saying last week, like when you can just cast that for black mana, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
That's what sells it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, please take a moment out of your day and leave us a very kind review. A 5-star review if you're on one of the sites that does that, or a nice little written review. We definitely appreciate when you guys do that, and a bunch of you have, and that is fantastic. Outside of that, just tell your friends, anyone you can, anyone that you think would enjoy this podcast about it. That is the best way for us to grow, and we certainly appreciate that. You can also support the show at patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. All right, Wally, I don't want to have too much standard discussion of this because we are gonna talk about Guild of Ravnica Standard and kind of the metagame and how it's developed over the first 3 weeks. So,
all right,
are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, strap in. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about Guild of Ravnica Standard. All right, so you have had firsthand interactions with the standard format after it's shaken out a little bit, because obviously week 1, I feel like the obvious decks get played. You got the Selesnya deck at one of the most played deck. You had mono red, and those are just like the lowest hanging fruits, right? Like they don't take much creativity to put together. And now you kind of see the format develop a little bit more. But Ali, you played a deck this weekend that is so far off the beaten path. It's like it's a different path entirely.
Yeah. So before we get to my deck, so you like you said, week 1, the biggest deck was mono red with Frenzy.
Yeah.
It was like that and Selesnya tokens. Then week 2, we started seeing a little more Golgari, but Golgari was like catching up, but it wasn't like the best yet. And now we're in a spot where Golgari won the PTQ, all in PTQ.
Not only did it win, but it dominated. It was like 6 of the top 8, I think.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And also, there's a slight uptick in Jeskai control decks now too. Like Jeskai is like almost like the de facto go-to control decks, which we both said would be after Guild of Ravnica was released.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes too much sense. This is not. This is not like that far of a reach for.
No, most because of mana base, like Steam Bank and Sega Foundry, but yeah.
Yeah, you get all the Izzet and Boros cards, and then you have arguably the best card in Standard to put them together. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So now we're basically in week 3 where Golgari and Jeskai are Golgari is the most played, and Jeskai's like a close, like behind there.
Mm-hmm.
And the deck I played, the 5-color Lich deck, it originally had week 1 had root snares and stuff like fogs, because mono green was a deck. The mono green zombie deck where they they play like Land Elf, turn 2 Steel Leaf Champion,
Yeah.
Turn 3 Vine Mare, and that was a deck. But that deck is like no more. So I've changed the deck to deal with mono red more so than Golgari, because Golgari has always been, I don't want to say a buy, but just heavily favored. Like that matchup is very, very good for you.
Well, they have multiple cards. You have multiple cards. They have no basis to interact with.
Yeah.
They're too slow to pressure you, and they're too grindy to be able to deal with your combo elements. And yeah, I'm putting air quotes around that, but
yeah. Well, what's crazy is like even like their planeswalkers when they alt, it doesn't do much. Like Vraska Golgari Queen giving the ultimate of like whenever a creature does damage, you lose the game. Doesn't matter.
you can't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Put you to 1 to life? Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't matter unless I'm at 13 life and a mastery out. But even then, like, so, and they alt a lot. Like, I mean,
Yeah, because you just ignore them.
Exactly. Yes, you ignore them. I haven't lost to it yet, but I know there's like the way the win is probably like going to be like a turn 2 Branchwalker, turn 3 Jade Light, turn 4 Jade Light, and then like you having nothing.
Yeah.
But just like a Nova or one Nova or one Cell of the Wreckage is usually enough for you to set up into Mastery and Lich's Mastery. And what's so good about Lich's Mastery is like you basically have 2 life totals. Like
Yeah, it's like Phyrexian Unlife, but you also get to, anytime that you gain life, you draw a significant amount of cards.
Yeah. I basically feel like I'm like a boss like on some fighting game where I have 2 health bars.
2 health bars, yeah.
Yeah, they have to like get through my first one, then surprise, another health bar. So
Yeah.
That's what it feels like sometimes. And like you said, the cards. What's so good about this deck? Like I think it's subtly. It works because, like, the worst card in your deck is probably Transfer Glory, and it only works with Lich's Mastery. But when it does, it's the combos is just absurd. Like it's 3 mana Time Walk. Yeah. And the cards that combo with Mastery, like Gifts of Paradise, is perfectly fine on by itself. That card ramps you and delays you to the mid game.
Yeah.
And gains you and the gain life matters. But then with Mastery, it becomes like a 3 mana Secrets of the Golden City ramp card. And then the other card is Revitalize, and people like kind of laugh at this card, but man, Renewed Faith was a played card. Like maybe it wasn't played that much like last standard, but there's plenty of times people played Renewed Faith just to cycle it to gain 2 life and draw a card.
For sure.
And Revitalize gains you 3 life and draws
life.
a card. Yeah. And with so again, the cycles digs deeper into your deck, so your deck's smaller, which is good for a combo deck. And then late game, you can buy back with Mirari to draw 4 cards. Because of Lich's Mastery. So
that's one of those cards that everyone, when they first start playing Magic, maybe not everyone, but everyone thinks life gain is good, and then at some point they're taught life gain is not good.
Yes.
But I honestly feel like that's a bad lesson now. Because
well, I think what happened back then was it was when you gain life, it was just life. It was like
exactly.
It was like Heroes Reunion,
Stream of Life.
Yeah.
Congregate.
Yeah.
Just things that said gain
Nourish.
Gain X life. You gain blah life. Yeah. And that's all that it did. But
it was literally just gain X amount of life, yes.
Now lifelink comes attached to removal spells like Vraska's Attempt and Moment of Craving. It comes with cantrips in Revitalize. It comes in the form of lifelink creatures like Lyra Dawnbringer. And this has been the case for a little while. Honestly, probably for the last, I don't know, 10 years. Really, ever since they made lifelink into a mechanic, they've been more willing to just throw life onto cards as a kind of way to make them more playable or more powerful.
Yeah.
And your deck takes advantage of all of those little corner cases.
Yeah. Yep.
And like you said, Renewed Faith, the first time that was printed, it's not like it was like, oh, a card that people played. This is like a staple card in the metagame.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't as much the next time because creatures hit a lot harder now than they used to. So 2 life doesn't mean as much. It's kind of like inflation, right? You see inflation on creatures' power as Magic gets older. Like creatures, compared to their converted mana cost, their power is greater than it was in 2003.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it works. So the difference, essentially, 3 life is a big difference from 2 life. And I guarantee you, in Last Standard, if you could cycle Renewed Faith and gain 3 life, it'd been played.
Yeah.
Because there's just a significant difference. But you have a card that just cycles where if you don't have anything to do, you're just drawing a card and you gain 3 life for no reason. And then once you have your combo out, it just draws you 4 cards for 2 mana. And that's the best rate in the history of Magic, essentially. I mean, that's just a recall rate.
Yeah, yeah. And what's so great, like in the matchups where it's good, it's insane. Like against Mono Red, Revitalize literally counter Lightning Strike or Wizard's Lightning, draw a card.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's literally what it does. Like,
yeah.
And it's really good. So, but okay, it says counter a past Lightning Strike or Lightning Strike in the future.
Yeah, no matter, it's like you don't even have to have it now. It's like, I'll just do this now. So any Lightning Strike you play for the rest of the game, the first one you play gets countered.
Essentially, yeah. And that's huge. That's huge for 2 mana. Let's literally dismiss for 2 mana. Or Cryptic, or I guess for newer players, Cryptic Command, counter draw for 2 mana against the red decks.
Yeah.
So it's just really good there. So the deck is, I think, it's favored against all the mid-range strategies like black green, like Golgari,
black green X.
Yeah, black green X, Selesnya, or even Abzan, or even Boros Angels. It's about even with red game 1, the Mon Red deck, and then games 2 and 3 you're more favored because you bring in like three Night of Autumn,
mm-hmm.
on top of Revitalize and top of Gift of Paradise. Literally the only thing they have against you is Frenzy, and that's it. Everything else doesn't matter because like you just gain too much life for it to actually matter.
Yeah, and we talked about Night of Autumn last week and just its versatility.
Yes, yeah, and it was I played the PTQ for the first time, and it was just an all-star.
Yeah,
had two in the sideboard. It was amazing against control decks to come down. It was better than Lyra Dawnbringer overall. Like
I believe it. Decks, I totally believe
it. Against control decks, it comes down early. You can kill like Search for Ascanta. Against Mono Red, it gains 4, then blocks a creature or eats a shock, which is 6 life for 3 mana. That's fine, and they discard a card. And then late game, it draws 4 cards because of mastery. So
yeah,
it was just a nice catch all.
Did you ever play it as a 4/3?
Never.
The only so go ahead.
I'm the type of player that like I held it.
Yeah, you want value.
I mean, like
you want value.
Yeah, I wanted to kill that. I want to shatter that Ascanta.
The 4/3 is never value.
It's not. Yeah. I wanted to like either just the only time I thought about it was my opponent had History Benalia. I could have either shattered the Benalia, or I could have made my Knight 4/3.
Be able to block the 2/2s.
Yeah, I decided to shatter it in case he could like pump all his knights with history, then like exile my knight. I figured I'll just shatter it, then block his knight, and be done with it.
God, History of Benalia, that's such a powerful card because it feels so bad. Like there's no good way to interact with that card.
No, there's not.
Which is what we, about all the way back to our Dominaria, one of our Dominaria review episodes we talked about. But I guess the only time I would, now you don't side it in against this deck, But let's say you change your main deck to where you're like, I have two cards to take out against like mono green, and I want to put this in. I could see you making a 4/3 against mono green.
Oh yeah, to block like a
you could
like
trade with a
Steel
Steel
Champion.
Champion and then block some of their smaller creatures, like if they have like a Branch Walker that didn't like that's a 2/1. You can hold off, and it just buys you a lot of time. Like it buys you more time than the 4 life, I would think.
Yeah, or a Bind Mare. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's like the only time I can see in this deck, in your deck, to make it the 4/3. But
yeah. There's one time also I considered when I had like a Carnage Tyrant, I was like, maybe I'll just play this and increase the race. I thought about playing it, but then my opponent played Niv-Mizzet, and I was like, okay, I'm not playing this. I'm just gonna attack with Carnage Tyrant. And yeah,
Niv-Mizzet is that's a powerful card.
Yeah, speaking of Niv-Mizzet, and control decks, that is the deck's hardest matchup. Is actually the control decks.
Mm-hmm.
Game one is just kind of rough because you have like Sell the Wreckages and like Cleansing Novas, and they have a lot of counter spells. So like you basically have to get them by them being like, you know, EOT, they explosion you for 8 or Chemist Inside and basically type out in a turn.
Yeah,
and then that's when you fire off Transfer Glory, and then untap it on your first turn, play Lich's Mastery, and then on your new turn combo off and kill them.
Yeah,
and that's literally how I won every game one against Control when I played. And then games 2 and 3, you have to board out, or I board out Lich's Mastery and Transfer Glory because I don't get blown up by Cleansing Nova.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you just can't beat that card.
No.
I mean, not if you're planning to Lich's Mastery them anyway. You just can't.
Yeah.
If you give them a turn, then you lose.
Yes. That's why when game one, it's vital to try to kill them. The turn you play it, not the turn you play, but like basically after you play it, take another turn and kill them.
Yes.
The games 2 and 3 plan is to just bring in dinosaurs, Carnage Tyrant and Nezahal, while dressing their hand, and then buying back the duresses with Mark Conjecture, and then like you also have Banefire. So usually you just need like one swing with the Carnage Tyrant, and then if they deal with it, it's fine. If they don't, they obviously die. But then like once you get into the 13 range, Banefire will kill them. Either when Mirari pops off and it gives you double cast, or just the game goes a little later and you can just Banefire and kill them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my opponent did play Niv-Mizzet, and that card is obnoxious. Like I dealt with one, and then he played another one, and I was like, this is so ridiculous.
Miserable.
Yeah, it's so hard to kill. It's just hard to deal with in general.
So how do you think right now? So I'm looking at one of my favorite websites for just Magic information from like metagame perspective is MTG Goldfish, as I'm sure a lot of people's are, and it has from a metagame share perspective, and this is just all of the online events, any in-person large events. Right now, it has the most played deck as Golgari midrange, then Mono Red aggro. Then there's a drop off, and then right after that you have Boros Angels and then Grixis Control. So I feel like we talked about the first ones. Does Grixis Control, do you feel like that falls into the other, or are you kind of saying when you say control decks, do you mean like Teferi control decks?
Teferi control decks. Grixis Control is actually I don't want to say easy, but I think you're favored against that matchup as well, because usually they just run Essence Scatters. And that's it. Like they have Essence Scatter and Thought Erasure, but you cannot grind Thought Erasure, and Essence Scatter is dead against you, because like one Mirari undoes a Thought Erasure really badly.
Yeah.
The matchup that is rough is the blue black disinformation campaign, but that deck just
because of
dies
that card.
to like, yeah, leave that card. But that deck like dies to mono red, it dies to like other control decks, and it's not even good versus Golgari, so I don't know why. So I mean, I guess that's why it's not played anymore. It's just not a very good deck in that game.
But of course, that doesn't mean that in the early rounds of the tournament before it gets chopped down by some of the other decks, that's something you won't play.
Right. Yes.
And that's actually what I was going to bring up. In an early metagame like we're in, like we're not even a month in, are you like you have kind of positioned this deck into the metagame that you know?
Absolutely.
Golgari, Mono Red, Boros, Selesnya decks, control decks which you're still working on. But there has to be those other decks that people have been working on that maybe they have a terrible, like, basically they're like, all right, well, there's a Mono Red deck as the aggro deck, the Golgari deck as the mid-range deck, and the Blue-White X deck as the control deck. And I feel great about 2 of those and feel terrible about 1. But people still play those decks in the early rounds of the tournament because they're just, trying stuff.
Yeah.
When you're taking the metagame into consideration, I feel like sometimes those are the decks that can kind of get you, just because they play cards that just you that don't play, just like you're playing, right?
Yes. Yeah. But the difference is, I tailored this deck to beat the metagame or large part of it.
Yeah.
If I do get caught with like a bad matchup because I guess like blue black campaign, it's rough. But how do I say this without being? So the people that decide to play blue black campaign, even though it's not as bad against like
the aggressive, like the aggro decks,
the aggressive decks, the control deck, even Golgari mid range, I feel like I have a slight edge because, one, I doubt they know what my deck is doing.
For sure, yeah.
And I don't know how to say it. Usually,
you're saying
favored.
What you're going to say is you feel like you can outplay those people.
Yes.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay to say that. You get to say that,
yes.
Man. You're a national champion, United States national champion. You won an invitational. You can say that.
Okay. Well, I feel like
you've earned that. You've earned the ability to say that.
Okay, thank you. I feel like I can outplay those people unless they go turn 2 Thought Erasure, turn 3 campaign, turn 4 Notion Rain, turn 5 Thought Erasure campaign. Then that's rough. But if they play, whatever, it's without campaign, I'm fine. And then games 2 and 3, it's much easier because I have duress and I can duress the campaign or or just be you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna play Carnage Tyrant and kill you with this instead.
Yeah. I'll just play this one creature and I'll just attack you 3 times.
Yeah, and also against them, against blue black, Legend Mastery does matter because they can't kill it or bounce it or anything. So if you resolve it,
once it's there, it's there.
Yeah. All of a sudden your vitalizes and everything turn on. So one thing I want to say before wait out or whatever, this deck is a toolbox deck. It is a deck that has to be continuously modified for the metagame. So, for example, I've recently added 2 Chemistry's Insight to the deck. This is
great ad.
Yeah, this is for the control matchup. This gives you a ton of. It's insane how much better Insight is than hieroglyphic illumination. It just lets you dig so deep in the deck. You get to draw 2 cards and discard a land, or dead card and draw 2 more cards, or you get to pitch it with Discovery Dispersal and later draw two cards. It's just been fantastic against the control decks. It's not so hot against Mono Red, but I'm comfortable enough in a Mono Red matchup, especially after game 1, that I don't mind playing a couple Insights main deck.
Mm-hmm.
But so I guess people that do have the Patreon,
yep.
They will continuously see me update this list or this deck, and that is why. It's because I am updating it for the metagame as it evolves for the top decks. I did speaking of metagame or MG Goldfish, I guess this earlier. Saffron Olive streamed the Lich deck, and so did Noxious. They both streamed the deck. They had little. Well, Saffron did well. He did okay, but the deck needs more practice. Like you need to play with it a couple times, figure out the ins and outs. But it's very rewarding once you do.
Awesome.
That makes
sense. It does. And
okay.
I was going to say that is a good reason for people to have access to the brew book through Patreon, because you can. I would check before, if you plan on playing this deck, check that out to kind of see how Ali, what he thinks about the kind of the ebbs and flows of the metagame and how he's changing that to be able to attack those. And you can just look at that every week, because I have no doubt that you're going to keep working on this deck now that you've had legitimate success with it.
Yes. The past week and a half, I've literally changed cards like 4 times. Yes, like I have it open now, and I last edited it yesterday at 9:22 p.m. So like it's been barely 24 hours, and it's already been updated. So
that's awesome. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else on Standard for this week?
Nope. I think that's it.
Okay, cool. We're definitely going to talk more about Standard over the next little while, because I think we both think that Standard is in a good place right now, and I think a lot of people do. And something we're going to talk about next week, just to give everybody a little heads up, is now that MPG Arena is in open beta and everyone has an opportunity to play that, more people are playing Standard than they have in the last year. So we're going to kind of revisit a segment we did early in the year, probably 6 months ago, about wildcard usage and how you can kind of prepare for that. So look for that next week in this spot. All right, we are going to move on then, going on to the second episode of the Guilds of Ravnica story. We'll be back with Magic Story in just a moment.
Justin, we're done talking about testing for Standard, but today the story is called Testing the Dark Waters.
That's what I want to do, is test the Dark Waters.
That's what we're going to do today.
Good.
Are you excited?
Yes. I'm actually really excited because I read the story. So.
Okay.
I really like it, but we'll get to that.
So this is by the same author. It's another like short story that's standalone by itself type deal.
Yep. Nikki Drayden is the author.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, this one is focused on the Izzet League, the Izzet Guild, I guess. Either or. So I'm just go ahead and start.
Jump on in.
Yep. Part of if you can help me pronounce some of these names, that'd be great.
These are tougher than last week's.
Yeah. Okay. So it starts off with Kelteth. Kelteth
is how I was saying it in my head.
Kelteth is a Golgari member. He is escorting Libet. How do you say it?
I was saying
Libet.
So Leigh is pronounced Lee. So I was saying Libet.
But in Arabic it's Libet.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, I'm just going with Libet. So Kelteth Golgari member is escorting Libet, who's part of the Izzet League. Basically, there's something going on, and she's been giving a mission to, or a quest, whatever you want to call it, to figure and solve the Golgari's problem. There's something going on with, and she's there to solve it. So she's walking through the sewers, and Kelteth is her guide. It's kind of funny too, because as she's walking, she's obviously cast she's cast enchantments to repel like mud and stuff to not get dirty. And later we realize she also cast a spell to not get nauseated and throw up in the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of cool. So anyways, Kelteth leads her to this thing called a Fatberg. I still don't know what a Fatberg is, but it's basically, it's completely electric proof. They can't get rid of it with electricity, which is how they normally would. So this is why Libet is there. So she has this canister that basically detects magic, and it doesn't really know what's going on with this Fatberg. So she's examining it, and as she's examining it, Kelteth he ends up falling asleep. She realizes that this could be a huge like invention or something big, because it's her canister, which detects like different elements and magic, isn't detecting it. So this means money or her secret. So she decides not to wake up Kelteth. So she's investigating. Now she's investigating. This eel comes up and attacks her. It's typical like dungeon type deal. She uses her again ballast. Is it ballast rod? Ballast.
Ballast. That's an actual thing. Ballast rod.
Okay, no. All right. So this is the first time I've heard that word.
Yeah. Considering the story, that's totally fair.
Okay. Okay. So she has this ballast rod that like she ends up using to absorb some of the shock from the I believe it was the eel or the canister.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's defending herself, and when the canister explodes, it shocks the water, which ends up shocking her, and she basically passes out. And when she wakes, this is so like for me the story was a little complex. Like when she wakes,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's on purpose though. I think I guess to jump in with thoughts as we're telling a story, I think the purpose is to look at this from an Izzet mage's point of view and see how, I don't want to say crazy is not the right word, but how their brain goes so quickly and thinks so fast. And I think it jumps around on purpose because that's how
they think.
That's how the character's thinking. Is it's just like one thing to the next, and there's a lot of information missing in the middle, on purpose. Yeah. Like it's
very jumpy.
It's just like telling you stuff, and you don't have time to think. Like you don't have time to identify context clues in the story to figure out what exactly is going on. I still don't know what a Fatberg is.
I don't either. But regardless, this electric shock didn't damage the Fatberg at all. It hurt the hurt everything, but the Fatberg is still there, immune.
Yeah.
She realized, okay, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna show it to my master. He's gonna be like, oh wow. He's gonna move me up, and I'm gonna be able to become a real Izzet, like someone of importance, like a professor or chemist. Because right now, she feels like the only way she can move up is if basically someone above her dies, and all the Izzet League chemists, doctors, whatever, are taking potions that will make them live longer. So it's gonna be a minute. A minute at least. Yeah. So she finds this thing and she goes back. She goes to her master Dax, but what she thought was going to happen, she demands to get promoted. Instead, she gets stripped of her title and her job. He just takes everything away from her. He's like, "You're ridiculous. No, you can't give me ultimatums." So she decides to, okay, I'm gonna start my own lab and try to figure this thing out. She ends up putting out a flyer, be like, hey, I need lab assistants to help me. I'll pay you X amount. And then one of them is a woman named Tamsin.
I read that because she says, "Don't call me Tammy." So it definitely is Tam.
Is it?
So I guess Tamsin.
That's how I pronounced it. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. I think it's Tamsin. Anyways, so Tamsin is like extraordinary. Like she's very meticulous. Like she's not as erratic as like typical Izzet guild mages. She's very precise and she gets things done in like in an orderly fashion. Mm-hmm. And it impresses Lebet, but she can't afford her. But Tamsin ends up insisting, like, "Hey, you need to hire me. Like, obviously you won't get any better, And Laybet tries to be like, okay, I'm going to interview other people first before I make my final decision. But Tamsin ends up insisting, like, okay, you're being ridiculous. Like, just hire me. So she ends up hiring her. They end up working in the lab, and they make a elixir that makes the subject immune to electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So they give it to, I believe, it was a rabbit or a mouse, some animal, and they shock the animal and doesn't harm it at all. But for this elixir or technology to be very useful for the Izzet League, it has to be tested on human subjects.
Well, humanoid, at least.
Sorry, humanoid subjects. And to do that, you need to go through like a lot of paperwork, and she thinks she can't do that. But Tamsin says, you know what? I know how to do this. I can do it. Just are you for sure going to, like, let me work for you? And she's like, okay, yes, okay, 100%. I'll pay you. Go do what you gotta do. So Tamsin does this. She brings back She brings back humanoids test subject, and they test it on the humanoids, and like the electricity doesn't hurt them. They're completely fine. They're immune to it, so they have something. They have something here. But the problem is, they can't pay the test subjects.
To get the test subjects, Tamsin put out an ad that lied, or that told the test subjects they were going to get paid.
Yes.
For doing the test.
Yes. And they can't pay them. So Tamsin suggests, okay, well, you can either kill them off, or, basically give up. I think it's
a little more specific than that, because they say, well, what are we going to do about the money? And then Laybet's like, well, we could say we have to put in the paperwork, and they'll get paid in a little bit, and then deal with it then. And then Tamsin's like, well, but as well as I do, if people with this magic on them go out into the world, that people are going to find out about it. So yes, we have to make sure they don't find out.
And Tamsin is hinting at, like, we need to, kill them, but she doesn't say anything. And Laybet knows, like, she has to choose, and she ends up choosing, like, okay, she's like, I can't kill people. I can't do it.
And she talks about her ability to eventually euthanize mice, lab mice, and how many. Like, initially it was hard, and then after hundreds and then thousands, that it's just a part of the job.
Yeah.
It became routine.
Yes, but this is different, and she says she can't do it. Tamsin said, "Don't worry, I've already done it. I basically given them a poison that will kill them slowly, like kill them fast.
So they won't suffer."
Yes. So afterwards, later, Laybet realizes she still has to pay Tamsin, and she herself doesn't have any money. So she decides to take the highest paying test subject jobs, and she's basically gone through all of them. And the last one is not through the Izzet League, but it's through the Simic Combine, and they want test subjects as well. And she goes over there, and she's nervous, and they say, "Have you been exposed to any helix type things?" Which is what she has been exposed to
specifically.
Yes. And she says no, because she wants the money. And so while they're doing the test on her, she starts to transform into like something else, like a scaly reptilian creature type deal. And he asks her, "Are you sure you haven't used any exposed to any helix?" And she tries to say yes, but she can't. She said she's foaming at the mouth. She panics and she breaks free, and she, runs towards the sewers because she thinks she's hideous and nobody will want to look at her, and that's where she belongs. And while she's in the sewers, she runs into Tamsin, and Tamsin actually recognizes her. Tamsin tells her, Tamsin tells her, it becomes known or exposed that Tamsin is a Demir spy, and she was just hopping from laboratory to laboratory just to see if she can find anything. And now that she's found this elixir, she wants it for herself, and for the Demir. And she, in order to keep it secret, she needs to kill Lebet. So she starts fighting with Lebet. This fight goes on for a while. Tamsin is like throwing these white balls of like energy death that if enough hit Tamsin, if enough hit Lebet, she's going to die. As Lebet's running, she crafts another was it balustrade? She basically casts.
Yeah. So a balustrade is a ballast is something that like grounds for electricity.
Okay. So as she's running away, she's able to pick up parts and make a makeshift balustrade that can absorb like maybe one blast, and it does, which surprises both of them. And then she's able to send the blast back to Tamsin, and while Tamsin's injured, Lebet has no problem going over there and finishing the job. And this is hinted at because she has like more. Her animalistic urges are more upfront because of the testing that the Simic did on her. After she kills Tamsin, she realizes that the experiment has worn off. She's back to being in her uniform, but she also realizes she's not completely the same. Like there's something inside of her that has changed forever. And that's where the story ends.
The last line is, "The monster inside shifts beneath my skin. Together, we will make a great team."
Yeah, it's very Venom-esque type deal.
Yeah,
actually, it will make a great team. Yeah.
So what do you think about this story?
I thought it was a little too all over the place. I liked it, but that it did disprove our theory of we would see all the gold mages in everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Because we didn't see Royale or
Niv
Izzet in this one.
No, yeah. So that was okay. I actually like the Demir one better. The one last week better than this one.
Okay. I like this one a lot. I like this one more, personally.
All right.
I think it was more exciting. I felt like the Demir one was like fairly mundane. And then obviously it got exciting with the baby when the baby disappears and all that stuff's happening with it. But I don't know, I think from the beginning this story was put together, like I was more interested in this character and got a better idea, not necessarily a better idea of like the day-to-day life, because you got a pretty good idea in the other story, but 2/3 of the story in the Demir story, Merritt, which I think was the main character's name last time, you realize he's completely worthless, and the story's not about him, even though it like he's the main character.
It is,
story.
yeah.
And that's not the case here. I really like how, I think it, like I said, on purpose was, kind of goes all over the place.
Yeah, it does.
And I like how, from Lebet's point of view, I mean, this is just like how I think it's a her. I guess I got that idea because there's a picture of like the lead guild mage.
The guild mage and she's female. Yeah, same.
So I think that's kind of what put that thought in my head. Even though I don't know if there's any distinction, but I just assume. Anyway, I'll just say Lebet was like, what is going on in their head? That it's just on to the next thing. How can I do this? How can I do this? And it seemed very Izzet. Even though
her thought process was very Izzet. It was almost like a person that's ADHD. Their thought process. Their thought process.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine. Like, I mean, this is kind of how I think too. In some ways, like just bouncing from one thing to the next,
and
then like dumping that for something else.
Just
like
immediately.
All or nothing. Yeah. But it wasn't quite like that. Like it was more cohesive than that, I would say.
Guess so. I liked the experiments that they were doing and how they described that. I enjoyed the back and forth between Lidbet and Tamsin. I felt like it seemed to me like the author was a lot more comfortable writing this one than the other one, but they're very different. The stories are definitely different.
Very different.
Which really is a testament to the author because they're like wildly different. Like it doesn't even seem like they would be written by the same author, but they are. So
yeah,
kudos to Nikki Drayden for really getting. I mean, obviously she's going to be doing 3 more stories, but so far 2 parts of Ravnica like very correct, as far as I'm concerned, to what you can see for kind of the inner workings of how a guild member operates day to day. I also really liked the first goblin, like the little goblin girl. That was the first test subject.
Yeah.
And how they were like really nervous and then talking.
And she was nervous.
Yeah, and I don't know, just it felt like, someone that's a scientist that cares, but ultimately the science is more important.
Yes. Which I liked. Sorry, I was gonna say, it showed how Izzet she was because after like the first three test subjects, she blasted like one electricity ball or whatever to test the elixir.
Yeah.
But the last subject, she's like, all right, we're gonna blast you with like 10 of these back to back.
Yeah.
Not even thinking like, what if this kills this person? She's just like, YOLO.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. And that is the most. That's literally.
That's super Izzet.
If the Izzet had one catchphrase, it would be "Let's see what happens."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it though. I really did. I liked this story quite a bit. I don't know. I actually went back and like read it twice, at least like the second half. From when.
Yeah, the second half is good.
Yeah, the second half. I just thought it was really good. It's also like really interesting with her becoming a test subject. Like it's all like everything is like science related.
Yeah, I glued in when they start talking about Simic. So okay, what's going on? Let's see this.
And that was cool to see I really like seeing the guilds interact too.
Yeah. Yeah. How basically she was solving a problem for the Golgari. Yeah, liked all that. And then like this basically had this had the Golgari, the Izzet, the Demir, and Simic all together.
Yep. In meaningful parts too.
Yes. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Very cool way to meld to mix the world of Ravnica into like one story. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think that's what these stories are trying to do is rather than seeing it from the point of view of the main characters of the planeswalkers, this is day to day. These are how these people interact and how their jobs interact. Yeah, also, we know what the currency on Ravnica is.
We know what?
The currency on Ravnica is Ziggs.
Yes.
Which is cool. I don't know if we knew that before. I didn't know that anyway.
I didn't. We do now.
Yep. So that was really cool. Yeah, I actually really like the story. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest. I would like if there was even just like a tiny little bit of crossover between some of the stories. I think that would be cool, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that.
Yeah, same.
All right, cool. Okay. Anything else on testing the Dark Waters? Magic story for this week. I'm
ready to stop testing Dark Waters.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. All right. In that case, we're going to move on to the final segment today. Over last week, Ali and I both watched the new thriller in theaters, Bad Times at the El Royale. Be back in just a moment. Bad Times at the El Royale. I did not have a bad time personally.
No?
At this movie.
At El Royale or at the movie?
At the movie. I think people at the El Royale did have a bad time. No spoilers, but you can assume that there's some bad times going on. It's even in the title.
Yeah, it literally says bad times at the El Royale.
And it delivers. I can say that without spoiling anything. So this was a movie written and directed by Drew Goddard, which is the director of Cabin in the Woods. I think that is his. He's written a bunch of things, but that's his kind of the other big thing that he's directed. I assume you've seen Cabin in the Woods, right?
Yeah, I actually like that one. Yeah,
it's kind of Cabin in the Woods is great. I actually watched it not this past weekend, but the weekend before that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
But it's hilarious, but like not like over the top. Like it's like just ridiculous. It's just like it's funny, but it keeps with the theme.
Oh yeah, it's super well done. It's a perfect satire on the horror genre. So high hopes because of that for me. This movie is, in my opinion, cast impeccably. I think all of the people that are playing all of these roles are like so great, and all of them. This movie reminded me of Pulp Fiction a little bit because it kind of jumps around from character to character, and you're seeing things in their point of view. And it's like I don't want to kind of a mystery, maybe probably more of a thriller than a mystery, maybe a little bit of mystery, that as you see things from different characters' point of view, you keep asking, you're like, oh, do we get to find new information by watching this character's point of view of this scene? Because it's like, if you look at the movie as percentage and you start at 0, you see a point of view from character 1 and it goes up to 12%. And you see your character point of view goes from 6 to 14, and then the next character goes from 14 to 20. The next character goes from 13 to 25.
Yeah, it's almost like Clue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I loved. I think the cinematography was great. The way that this movie was shot, particularly.
It's so weird to me.
Yeah. All of the scenes are shot from multiple different angles because, like I said, you see them from different characters' point of views. Yeah. And a lot is put on the actors in this movie because the story is all about the people, and you see their face and how they are acting in situations, and that's kind of the whole movie. So there's not a lot of I guess there's not a lot of like props or like big action set pieces that don't have to do with the characters themselves. Right. I don't know. I maybe not explain that well. It reminded me of Pulp Fiction. I don't know if I said that, but I think that's a good comparison as far as like how this movie is put together. Also, I think the music in the movie is great. One of the actresses, I wish I could remember her name. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's weird that you like this type of movie where it was like, you know, the pieces come together from different parts, and you see more of the big picture as you see different scenes from or different perspectives from other people's eyes. Mm-hmm. But you do not like it when this same thing happens, but it's like a romance type deal or life type deal where like all the people at the end somehow like touch each other's story and at the end like come together in a way.
That's because I don't think those movies are well written. And I think it's just I think the like those big cast romance type movies are, I think they're BS. They're not entertaining. Like I don't care about the story that they're saying. Like it's not engaging to me. Like they're all the same. Like I feel like if you've seen one, you've seen all of them.
Okay, that's fair. So what would you give this movie? How many stars?
I am gonna give this was one of my favorite movies that I've seen this year.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm actually giving this movie 5 stars.
Jeez. Okay.
I loved it. I thought it was so great. I assume you're not giving it 5 stars.
I am not giving it 5 stars, no. I'm going to give it 3 stars. Barely.
You hesitated. You said barely?
Yeah, I think too much. I think 2.5 to 3. I'll go 3.
Okay, yeah, because there's no half. You keep doing.
Yeah.
You always do that. There's not a half.
Yeah,
There's no 0.5. You have to just decide.
All right, that's a 3. That's
Okay.
a 3.
Okay. All right. So you tell me your take then.
Well, I'm saying 3 because the same reason you don't like the romantic type deals. I think for me that has more. I can connect more with that. It rings more to me usually. It has more sustenance or more meaning. Where this was just like, I'm not gonna remember the plot of this movie in like a month. It just there's no message to carry. It's just like a fun movie to go watch and and enjoy in the moment type deal. But there's like no real takeaway for me at all. It's like a fun movie. It's like Jurassic Park type deal where you go watch it and it's like, it's entertaining. I agree with you. The acting was phenomenal. That's definitely true. But on a personal level, it just doesn't ring with me. Like I'm not really getting too much from this.
Okay.
Outside of like the hour or 2 hours, sorry, the 2 hours I watch it, and
see, that's like every word you just said. I feel the exact same way about like the romantic drama,
right? Which I think is kind of cool.
Like I could literally say the exact same thing. Like I just don't I don't get anything out of that, and it just all feels so fake, even for a movie. To me,
I don't know, but there was
so contrived, and I take nothing away from it.
I watched one when I was younger, and it just like destroyed me. Like it built me up, then destroyed me.
What was it?
Like I can't remember what it was called. I've been trying to like as we were talking about it, I've been like typing names up. I thought it was what it was called, but it's basically like different people's shows people in relationships.
Yep.
Or how they meet up. One like the person dies. The other one like it's old couple, and they've been together forever, and it just shows you like all these different lives where people get devastated or cheated on, or they make it, or they're like they're 70 or 80 and the wife dies, and but they had a good life, but they had a good a relationship or a good life, and it's just like those like I don't know they move me in more ways than this does. Like this to me, this is more like a action Jurassic Park fun movie to enjoy.
Totally disagree. Like,
yeah. Well, you can't disagree with my opinion because this is how I feel. It's different for you, obviously, but this is for me what it feels like. Does that make sense?
It does, because I feel the same way about
exactly
the other genre.
Opposite. Yeah.
I guess it's just difficult for me to wrap my head around because I just feel like this movie had so much more going for it, and
I think I agree with you. I think the acting was phenomenal. I think like, I can't say the part that bugged me because that's a spoiler. But
okay, we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, I think the acting was really good. I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed the story, kind of, not fully. But yeah, it's just different for me, man. It's just different. I would still recommend it if that's like if I would be like, yeah, it's a good movie. It's well done. Go watch it. But it's not like, oh my god, you must see this for me.
I think it's great. I would recommend, like, this is something that it's rated R, so I don't even think it's like super rated R. It is rated R, but like it's not. It's on the it's not lower
America
end.
radar. Yeah, it's yeah.
It's just like it's language is really a language and violence, but
right, which is yeah.
But not like a ton of either.
Yeah, but I'm surprised it's not rated PG-13 because we're in America.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So this is a movie that I would recommend to anybody. Like I don't take this as an action movie at all.
No, of course not. Yeah, it's not an action movie.
Like this is definitely like a thriller or a mystery to me.
Yeah. It definitely is. It's definitely thriller mystery, to me as well. But I take it as like a fun movie to go watch, like as like a to enjoy
So
the
what
2
is
hours,
the? Because like I'm thinking back, and the movie most like this one that we've seen this whole year is Searching. As far as like from a plot perspective, but that has like I think you just connect with like the human element of these films significantly more than I do.
I connect a lot with the emotional element.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And,
That's what I mean.
yeah. And this one has
It doesn't really have that. It's
not
like
at all,
it's like you're watching, but you're not a part of it.
exactly. And I couldn't relate to any of the characters at all.
No,
Like,
and the for
zero.
yeah, totally. They're not relatable. They're not
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And to me, like when I can do that, I can connect more with the movie because I can like understand more, or I believe I understand more. Like, maybe it's an illusion, but like if I can like connect a character and like see what they're going through, like, oh man, I remember that sucks. Like it makes you feel more for that character, or makes you like want to cheer that character on. This is more like.
And see, I'm watching these and I'm like, oh man, like how are they going to get out? How is this going to turn out? Like how are these characters going to get out of this situation? And it's like, if something good happens or something bad happens, like I'm not emotionally invested. I'm intellectually invested, which is what I'm there for. But like I don't need the emotional element all the time.
I don't either.
I don't know. Like, I think you do.
No, Annihilation, dude. Like, okay, so this was like, yes, it was mystery, but it wasn't like. It made you think, but not, but it literally, but also put the puzzle for you together. Like it put the puzzle for you, where like, Annihilation was, it was also kind of mysterious.
That
and
puts the puzzle for you too at the end.
It doesn't though. Like you don't really know exactly what's fully going on. But
you also can't figure it out. It's not like the movie leaves you clues and you're like, let me go back and think about this and I can figure it out. It's ambiguous.
Right. And so it makes you like think more and like go home and think about it more and like, like, man, what really happened? And then like watch it again and you pick up pieces that you didn't realize before.
That's fair. That's fair.
Where this is
no, it tells you everything you need to know.
It does, yeah. So like for me, like I can't like there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to think about. There's nothing to connect with. But so all I got out of it was the enjoyment in the theater while watching it, which is fine, which is good.
Yeah.
But for me, I need
some connection.
The higher level, exactly, yeah, or the higher level to give it more rating.
All right, you ready to go into spoilers?
Yeah.
So we can talk about specific stuff.
Yep.
All right.
Burp.
Spoiler warning.
Burp.
Spoiler warning.
Burp.
Spoiler warning.
Burp. Burp. Burp.
Spoiler warning. All right, we're in spoilers now. So the thing that I think about after this movie is I'm thinking about specific scenes, how those scenes were shot, and like the tension between the characters that these actors have created. Like in my opinion, the best scene in the movie, like the most impactful scene in the movie, and there's a lot of them, is the scene where Chris Hemsworth character at the very end.
Use character names if you know them.
Billy Lee.
Yes.
Billy Lee comes in, and he has the hippie girl. I don't remember her name because they don't say her name very often. I think Emily.
The fuck you girl.
Yep. Emily tied up, the priest tied up, the singer tied up, and the bellhop tied up. I guess he's the person who's the kid who's managing the hotel.
Yeah.
And Billy Lee
Miles.
Yes. Billy Lee is dancing in a ridiculous way, like towards them, and you see his back, and all you can see is all of the characters watching him. And you know at this point that this character is a complete psychopath and sociopath at the same time. And it's the important thing about that scene, the only way they could have shot that is by looking from his back to see the characters' faces, because their reaction to him and what he's doing, as he has like complete control over them, is like it was amazing from like a filmmaking perspective, because it's like that scene had to be really difficult to shoot. One, because Chris Hemsworth surely was looking really ridiculous doing whatever like that dance he was doing. So I'm sure they had to do that scene a bunch of times just because people were laughing. But it's meant to be a serious scene in the movie because it's like, oh, obviously, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's so many scenes like that where the angle they're shooting from and they're like what they're showing you is how characters are interacting with each other, and those are the things. After the movie, it was like, those are the things that I was thinking about. Like these interactions between characters. Because I'm looking at like, because I think the best thing about this movie is the acting, which is phenomenal. It's like,
it is.
First of all, the cast is world class. Like they literally, it's literally almost all like A-list celebrities. And then the couple people that weren't were fantastic.
No, I agree.
Like the kid that played Miles, whose name is Louis Pullman, and then Darlene, the singer, played by Cynthia Erivo. They're both fantastic, and they're in a movie with Chris Hemsworth, Dakota Johnson, John Hamm, Jeff Bridges, and to me, that's what this movie, like, that's why I enjoyed this movie. Is because all of these people they like knocked it out of the park with their parts.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing that bugged me was Rose,
the little girl.
Emily's sister, I guess.
Yeah.
She was basically portrayed as a sociopath. Someone doesn't really have emotions or like feel that well, you know.
I disagree somewhat.
Do you?
Yeah. I think the important part is that Billy Lee is like Charles Manson.
Yes, that is true.
And he has completely brainwashed these people.
Except Emily, but yeah.
Yes, except for Emily.
But anyways, so the part bugged me where it was when Billy Lee is playing the game, choose black or red, and then Emily gets between Emily and Miles, and Emily loses and she gets shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rose is like looks at her, and you can tell like she feels bad, like
she's like, I wish it was the other guy, but this is what Billy Lee wants, so this is fine.
Yeah, but then I don't know, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because then when Billy Lee died, she was just like went almost like hysterical.
Yeah, that's because that was her. I think that made sense with her character. Like fully made sense with her character, because she'd been totally brainwashed.
But I had seen her as a sociopath, because like, you know, even my sister died to someone that like I love, it'd still be like devastating, right?
No,
like,
dude, she's literally been brainwashed though. The only person she cares about is Billy Lee. Period.
Yeah.
I think that was made clear throughout the movie with the flashbacks.
No, it was. Even the flashbacks, like, everyone was, like, calm and chill or whatever, and he was like, you can choose fight or not. You can choose to fight or not fight, or, you know, there's more than one option. But whoever wins gets to sleep with me tonight.
In the big house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we're going to have a good old tussle.
Her face went like...
Yeah, she went crazy. She's like, all right, well, this is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
I guess I got to kill this girl if that's what he wants me to do. And never questioned it.
No, she goes ham. She definitely goes ham. But that rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe it's because just her sister. But
it rubbed you the wrong way because you didn't care how the character acted, or you felt like it was inconsistent.
I felt it was a little inconsistent. Maybe
I totally disagree with
the way you're. What I'm saying, the way you're explaining it is maybe I misinterpreted the character, or yes. Basically, what you're saying is I misinterpreted the character.
Yeah, I mean, she at the beginning of that day. I mean, you know why that she was there, right?
Why? Because her sister took her there.
But do you know why?
To run away from Billy Lee.
No, because she murdered that couple that was on TV earlier that morning because Billy Lee told her to.
Oh, okay. And then she calls Billy Lee and is like,
"This is where I
"We're
am.
here."
Yeah, come get me."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you kept seeing the flashback with her standing over a body with a knife. And then you see on TV couple in Malibu has been brutally murdered by stabbing. Yeah, that was Rose.
And then vacuum cleaner guy dies.
Yeah.
I liked him.
John Hamm was great. He's so good at being just like this skis ball.
God. His boss literally says, "Do not interfere."
Yep.
And he interferes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
It's because he didn't, because he was a cop and he didn't trust Emily from the moment he saw her. He's like, something is up with this person.
Yeah.
And then of course he finds out that is the case.
Yeah.
I love the interaction between Father Daniel Flynn, I think was his character, and Darlene.
Yeah, Flynn and Darlene. Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, they're great. Jeff Bridges is just great. This is such a if anyone that listens to this podcast likes Jeff Bridges, you absolutely need to see this movie because this is like an A+ Jeff Bridges movie. He kills it the whole way through. But their interactions were so good. Like that was my two favorite interactions throughout the movie. And Chris Hemsworth was a phenomenal psychopath because he's so crazy. Yeah. And at the end of the movie, Darlene just pegs him with everything.
Oh, I love that. That was my favorite part. That was definitely my favorite.
That was a great part. It was a great part.
Where she literally just calls him out like on his bullshit. She just like, "I see through you," and just lays it out like 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then he starts to talk, and he's like, "No, I've heard it. This is what you're going to say."
Yeah. Yeah. Which even and you see his face like he
has nothing to say.
Yeah. So the way he gets her back was by making her sing.
He's like, well, if you're so good, let me hear you sing. And then the priest is like, it's like he doesn't deserve to hear you sing. He's already made up his mind what he's gonna do. So don't give him the pleasure. So she thinks about it, and then she's like, well, this is my shot to maybe not die. So she sings, and she's phenomenal, of course.
Yeah.
And then he slams the
roulette.
The ball on the roulette, and he's like, I've heard better.
Yeah, that was him getting back at her.
Yeah.
Which is petty. But whatever. Yeah, regardless. That was my favorite scene. Her calling him out,
so great.
That was great. All right. Well,
what else?
Anything else? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I just say I love this movie. I recommend it. Honestly, if you listen to this podcast,
I mean, I recommend it too. It's just
less so.
I also recommend it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I think that's fine.
You guys have listened to the podcast if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you probably know the taste of movies that I have and the taste of movies that Ali has. And if you align with my taste in movies, then you should go see this movie immediately. That's how much I liked it. It's it's in my top 5 for the year. But okay. We'll get to as we wind down.
That's for later.
Yeah, that's for later. As we wind down, we'll kind of get to breaking that down. So no, that's it. That's all I got to say.
All right, that's all I got to say on this movie too.
Excellent. All right, that's the show. That's the show, guys. We'll be back in just a second with question of the week. All right, you know what it's time for?
Question of the week.
Question of the week.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait, it's time for the glorious music. Or he's already played the music.
I don't know. He hadn't been doing it recently. I went back and listened the last couple of weeks. He just hadn't been doing it. He's messing with us now. Because now I've been pausing and saying, all right, here's the music, and then he just doesn't put it in.
Maybe it's going to come after the question this time.
I don't know. This is his Director Choi's way of establishing dominance.
It's okay.
I think.
All right.
So I don't know if it's in there or it's not in there, but either way, I don't like it. All right. Anyway, question of the week last week. So in Magic Story today, we talked about the differences between all of the guilds, specifically, the Golgari, the Dimir, the Izzet, and the Simic. Specifically, 2 of those are experimentally inclined. And we see characters in this week's Magic Story experimented on by both the Simic and the Izzet. So the question this week is simple. Would you rather be experimented on as a test subject by the Simic or the Izzet?
That's a clear answer.
Go on.
Definitely the Simic.
Mm.
One, they've done more experiments. They do more experiments than Izzet. He even said so in the story. At least on humanoids.
Okay.
2, you might come out with like this Civic Combine is all about evolving, making better, and improving in some way. Like,
Well, their opinion of improving.
Well, yeah, and I agree with them. So I might come out with like some wings or a dinosaur arm, or like I can maybe see further away, or I can smell music or hear color. Who knows, man? I'm down for some Simic testing. Like, it's just
you almost said Izzet, which is what I think you mean in your heart.
No. I'm gonna come with some Simic testing. I'm gonna come out evolved, better, stronger, faster.
So you can come out like a Kanye West song.
Exactly.
Okay. What if you did some experiments with the Simic and you had fins grow out of your nipples?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd
be a nice icebreaker.
It'd be a shirt breaker because you'd ruin all of your shirts.
Yeah, but I'd be like, yo, girl, I know you've seen nipples that are pierced, but have you seen this? And be like,
what was that noise? Is that you ripping off your first layer of extra skin that you got from doing Simic experiments?
Heck yes.
Yeah.
Look at these nipples.
Sounds awful.
Sorry. Look at these.
Sounds terrible.
Look at these fin nipples.
I don't want to turn into something else.
Nipples.
See, that's the thing. That's why I'm obviously picking Izzet, and I think this one is simple. I don't want to turn into something else. Okay.
Listen,
Don't. Go ahead.
Don't down talk Simic. You tell me why.
I am. I'm going to.
But don't do it by bashing Simic. Okay.
Well, I'm not. No, I'm just saying I want to be an enhanced version of myself. Not an altered version of myself. I want to be enhanced. I want the Izzet to be able to experiment to give me the ability to not be hurt or messed with by electricity, or be able to fly or run extra fast. And these are the things that Izzet can do. Are there methods sometimes more dangerous? Maybe. I think the reason that it seems like the Simic do more experiments is because a lot of the Izzet do experiments in secret, as we've seen in the story. And all the Simic experiments are above board.
I think there's some Simic also in secret.
I don't know. We haven't seen examples of that. Like, we've seen mad scientist Izzet people, right? But we don't really see that in Simic. Like, everyone in Simic's like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just experiment on these creatures and you'll...
Listen, Laybet said they do more, so I'm going to go with the Izzet's person that said Simic does way more testing, so I'm going to go with that.
Either way, I think the Izzet are willing to really make crazy differences for you. Like, you could basically be turned into, like, they're giving you...
Or slow you down. what happens if you all of a sudden just burn your legs off? Let's say your muscles are fried. Can't use them anymore.
Look,
Can't use
this is man. I'm going high risk, high reward. Okay, going high risk, high reward. I know guaranteed that I'm gonna be in for a change. And if I'm a test subject, I'm already like I need a win. Okay, if I'm a test subject, I need a win in life. Because if I'm doing great already, I'm not gonna go be a test subject. So assuming I'm gonna be test subject, I'm shooting for the moon. The people in the experiment in the story today, if they got to leave, they are literally electric proof for the rest of their life. Boom. Total victory. Yeah, now they were murdered, but that's neither here nor there. You can ignore that because that was by Demir.
Okay.
All right, what were you going to say?
I'm going to be Spider-Man. I'm going to be infused with a spider.
No, dude, you're going to be Man-Spider. You're not going to be Spider-Man. That's not the same. Izzet turns you into Spider-Man. Simic turns you into Man-Spider.
Nah.
Yes, totally.
Okay. Anyways, my vote is Simic.
My vote is Izzet. All right, Ali, where can people find you?
You can find me on twitter.com/Ali Aintrazi, twitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi, and my articles come out over at coolstuffinc.com every Friday.
Excellent. You can find me on Twitter as well, at jparnell1 on Twitter, and on searchofthegames.com and YouTube. I'm the host of the Commander Versus series. 11 a.m.s every week. We are getting started with season 13. 13 seasons, that's a lot.
Lucky number 13?
Lucky 13, that's what I've been saying. If you want to contact the show, you can do so on Twitter at ThinktwiceMTG or email us at thinktwicemtg@gmail.com. You can find the show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music. Please leave us a review if you have just a moment to do so. You can also find the show on youtube.com/ThinktwiceMTG. Both the podcast and some MTG Arena videos by both myself and Ali. I'm doing a free-to-play Arena series, which has actually been a lot of fun. We have some ups and downs, but it is good to show you kind of how to manage your account. That has been very successful. So we had a good week last week. We're going to have a really good week coming up, which you guys have actually, by the time some of you will have seen the most recent episode by the time you listen to this, but there's another episode coming out soon, so you have to check that out. You can also support the show by going to patreon.com/ThinkTwiceMTG. We have a lot of great rewards tiers, including our $1 Augur of Bolus tier, which gets you early access to the show. 4 times supporting at that tier level gets you some Think Twice tokens of Ali and Justin, as well as access to our Discord channel, which is actually really great. It's very active, which I've been very happy about. We have all sorts of stuff. Here's the list of channels that we have on our Discord server: podcast-specific previews, Commander, Standard, Modern, Legacy, Limited, Arena, Vorthos, Decklist, and Magic is Hard, which is a great one. And then non-Magic with Animal Lovers, Fitness, Ollie named it Fitness 2 Strong with a K, board games, sports, Hearthstone, Spoiler Zone, that's for TV and movies, movies, TV, The Meme Dream, which I also don't understand, video games, and books. So, and then of course we got a general channel. It's pretty great. Pretty great. You should join it if you can.
Do it. Just do it.
One note on the podcast: the September rewards for Patreon have gone out. However, a lot of you do not have your address on Patreon. If you would like to get rewards and you're like, man, I haven't got that, if your address is there, you will get them if you have not received them yet. And a lot of you, by the time you listen to this, you'll have received them. However, if you're like, I haven't gotten any, and you go into Patreon and you're like, oh no, I didn't put my address in there. Maybe I'm due some tokens, but I can't get them because they have no way to get them to me. Put their address in. And come November, when we do the October rewards, we'll make sure to send those out. So definitely double check that, because I've been trying for a few months to send some of you. A couple of you updated after last month. Some of you still have not. Like a bunch of you actually have not. So double check that for me and for you. Mostly for you, though. Mostly for you.
Give us rewards, guys.
Yeah.
Give us your address.
Yeah, give us your address. I just want to send you free stuff. Just want to send you stuff. That's all. That's all. You want stuff. Give me your address. I'll send you stuff. I'm not going to share it. I'm only going to post it in my neighborhood, like on street signs. So it's only a handful of people that are going to see it. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that at all. That's just for us. We're going to just make sure we send you those tokens. So normally this is the time where we have a Discord animal of the week, but there's been no new animal pictures other than animals that either we've already selected or that are illegal to be selected as animal of the week, such as Peter Barker, Director Che's adorable pupper. But Peter Barker is not the animal of the week. Just to clarify, because it's a cast member's animal, so he cannot get it, even though he's very, very cute.
I'm gonna vote for animal.
You cannot cast your vote.
I'm doing it.
You cannot cast your vote for Peter Barker. He is illegal.
Rules are meant to be broken.
They're not. Rules are actually specifically meant to not be broken. That is actually how rules work. You're the worst kind of person. Rules are not meant to be broken.
Izzet literally think that way, okay?
I don't. That's fine. I'm not Izzet though, okay? I'm Azorius. Rules, you know what rules are meant to be? Followed. That's what rules are for.
Rules are meant to be experimented with.
No, they're not at all. Rules is how society is constructed and stays safe. Okay?
To be pistachios.
Anyway, we want to give special thanks to our graphic designer Amber West. You can find her work at amberwestdesign.com, and of course our director and producer John Choi. He might have put music in, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Our Agent and Bowls producers Daniel Hunt and Matt Lindell. I want to remind everyone we do have a spot open. If you want to work with me on Commander versus decks, that is your way to do so. Just telling you. Spot won't be open forever. So check it out on patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. All right, that's the show this week, Ali. I love you, the best co-host in the world.
I love you too.
All right.
Parneesi. We all love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being great Thinktwicers. And we'll catch you all later.
All right. Thanks, guys. Catch you next week.